Hello everybody and welcome back to Carried Away Travels. In this week's video, I'm going to be telling you about one of Iceland's best hidden gems, the Secret Lagoon. Now, pretty much everyone has heard of the Blue Lagoon, and if you've been watching my channel for a little bit, you've probably seen my review of the Sky Lagoon, which is an absolute must-do experience near Reykjavik. If you haven't seen that video, make sure you go and check that out real quick and then come back and watch this one. But if you really want to experience Iceland's authentic geothermal hot spring scene, you have to check out the Secret Lagoon. The Secret Lagoon is actually the oldest swimming pool in Iceland, and they've kept it as natural and authentic as possible. It's fed by geothermal geysers that you can see bubbling right behind it, and unlike a lot of the other hot springs experiences in Iceland, this one is much less touristy, so you're going to have much fewer crowds, meaning you get a much more relaxing experience here. So today I'm going to give you a full rundown of the Secret Lagoon, including where you can find it, how much it costs, what your experience is going to be like, including one kind of surprising thing you're definitely going to want to know in advance, and everything else you'd need to know about the Secret Lagoon before you go, just to ensure you have an absolutely seamless experience. By the way, if this is your first time here, I'm Carrie, and I share helpful travel tips, itineraries, gear recommendations, and more, so you can always have the perfect trip. If that sounds like the kind of videos that you want more of in your feed, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Don't forget to turn on notifications as well, and stay tuned for more videos like this from me in the future. And with that, let's go ahead and see what the Secret Lagoon is all about. I do think it's important for you to understand at least a little bit about Icelandic bathing culture, just to understand why hot springs and lagoons are such a big part of the Iceland experience. Now, historically and today, hot springs, lagoons are really big social spots for Icelanders. In a country that is cold for most of the year, a place like a hot spring is just the perfect spot to gather with your friends and chat and stay warm while also relaxing your muscles from like a hard day of work. Like, it's just the perfect spot. And because of all the volcanic activity, Iceland just has so many of these hot springs. But the other really big perk about going to these hot springs and lagoons is that the waters are just so rich with minerals from all of this geothermal activity. Silica is a big one, but there's lots of other minerals and algae in there that are really good for your skin. They have been proven to clear up different skin conditions. Some people even say that they have age-defying properties. So that's another reason that so many people flock to places like the Secret Lagoon, the Blue Lagoon. They use products made with waters and minerals from these places as well. And so just all in all, these hot springs have really become ingrained in the Icelandic culture. So if you are going to visit Iceland, you need to visit at least one hot spring while you're there. The Secret Lagoon is located just outside a town called Flutter, Iceland. I think I'm pronouncing that correctly, which is about an hour and a half east of Reykjavik. Now, you may not typically think you'd head to this area, but it is actually right on the Golden Circle, which is one of the most popular road trips in all of Iceland. I mean, it has some really big highlights, like the Thingvellir National Park, the Gullfoss waterfall, the biggest geyser like in the country. I mean, there are some really big highlights here. And so adding on a stop at the Secret Lagoon is so easy, especially if you're doing that loop already. However, again, if you just want to leave Reykjavik and go do this for the day, it's only about an hour and a half. But keep in mind, you really only need like an hour, hour and a half at the lagoon to begin with. As I briefly mentioned, the Secret Lagoon is actually the oldest natural swimming pool in all of Iceland. It was built in the late 1800s right by 3 active geysers, and they are going off every few minutes, just filling this pool with warm, toasty water that keeps about 100 degrees Fahrenheit all year round. To me, that is absolutely perfect. We visited in April, which is technically still winter there. There was snow on the ground. It was freezing temperatures. So to dive into that pool with 100-degree water was absolutely perfect. Now, because the water does stay that temperature all year round, the Secret Lagoon is open year round as well. They do have summer and winter hours. In the summer, they're open from 10 a.m. to 10 p.m., and in the winter, they're open from 10 a.m. to 9 p.m. So, no matter what time of year you're visiting Iceland, you can come check out the Secret Lagoon, and I definitely think it should be on your list. If you've looked into any of the other lagoons in Iceland, you may have noticed that they can get pretty pricey. Something like the Blue Lagoon is going to cost around $100 for a day pass, which sounds kind of crazy, but they do throw in a lot of extras for that price, and it is more of like an experience. Now, something like the Secret Lagoon is only going to be about $30 for adults. I think it's like $22 for seniors and $1.50 for kids. But they don't have all the extra bangs and whistles. This is a very quiet, simple, authentic experience versus like a grander, more touristy one. So if you are wanting that more authentic, quiet experience, this is a great place to go, and you'll actually save a lot of money if you don't want all those extra add-ons. Now keep in mind, because they're not including all the extra stuff, you do have to either bring your own swimsuit and towel, or you can rent swimsuits and towels on site for an additional fee. They do also have food and drink here for an additional cost as well, but you don't have to pay for anything you don't want or need, which can be really nice if you're trying to visit Iceland on a budget. So your admission to the Secret Lagoon includes access to their locker rooms, their showers, and soaking in the Secret Lagoon. It is just one main pool, and it's not huge, but there is plenty of space for the number of people that are typically there. And you can stay for pretty much as long as you want, but most people are there for about 1.5 to 2 hours. In addition to that, there is a short walking trail that goes around behind the lagoon and takes you past those 3 geysers. So it's kind of interesting to see them bubbling up, and they do have safety fences to make sure you stay back. Those are not for swimming in because they are super hot, but it is cool to see them going off every few minutes. And when you're in the pool, you can actually feel that water rushing in from the geysers, which is pretty interesting as well. And the scenery around there is just really pretty. It's this very rugged Icelandic landscape, so it is interesting to take that little walk as well. So for the last part of this video, I just kind of want to walk you through what our experience there was like from start to finish, so you can get an idea of what it would be like for you. This was very different from anything I'd done before, and it was actually fairly different from our experience even at the Sky Lagoon, which was also in Iceland. And there are a couple things that kind of threw me off guard. So I just wanted to lay it all out for you so you don't have any surprises once you get there. So once you check in at the front desk, you will be allowed to go back into the locker rooms. Now, the very first thing is a small room where everyone is required to take off their shoes. So there are benches and lots of racks for you to store your boots or your shoes while you're at the lagoon, but you cannot go into the locker room until you take your shoes off. They do have separate men's and women's locker rooms, but once you go in there, there's not a whole lot of privacy. In the women's locker room, there were, I believe, 2 bathroom stalls that had doors, but pretty much everything else was wide open, just like a typical locker room, so be prepared for that. There are lockers where you can safely store your stuff, and if I remember correctly, there were keys in each locker with a wristband, so you could keep that with you securely while you went into the pool and know that your stuff was locked away safely as well. Now, here's where things may get a little uncomfortable for some people. Before you go into the hot springs, you are required to take a shower without your swimsuit on, and it is a public shower. Now, this is a very European style. From what I understand, it is very common for that. But for Americans, that can be a little uncomfortable. A lot of the women in my group did not want to do that, and I get it. I wasn't thrilled about it either. But you are not supposed to take your shower with your swimsuit on, because there can still be like things on your body that won't get washed off like they're supposed to if you have the swimsuit on. So you have to strip, go take your shower, then go put your swimsuit on, and then you can exit directly to the lagoon, which I was very thankful for because it was cold. So you're not supposed to run, but I very quickly hustled from the locker room door into that toasty 100-degree water. Once you're in the lagoon, it's just time to relax, maybe have some nice conversations. They do have like pool noodles, so if you want to float around, or maybe you're a little shorter like me and your feet don't always touch the bottom, you do have that as an option to help you float around a little bit. I did think it was very interesting that they kept the waters here just so natural, and the floor of this as well. The bottom of the pool was like natural rock, and there was a lot of algae floating in this water. Like, not gross amounts, but you could look down and the water was super clear, but you would see those little bits of algae floating in there, which is supposed to help with that like rejuvenating experience that's good for your skin. And I didn't have any problem with it like getting in my hair or anything, but that was very different from our experience at the Sky Lagoon, where there was nothing and you could tell that like the bottom was a lot smoother and they'd, a lot more man-made elements. So this is a very rustic, natural experience, but it's very fun. The water was nice and warm, and the closer you get to those geysers in the back, the more you will feel that hotter water coming in, and you can feel it rushing in when you hear the geysers going off, which I thought was really interesting as well. So again, most people spend about an hour to an hour and a half here just relaxing and chilling, and it is a very peaceful and quiet experience. There's a lot of steam, and so it is really easy just to relax into that, let your muscles release, and come away feeling really refreshed. Once you are done swimming in the lagoon, you will go back into the locker room and take another shower, and they do have shampoo and body wash for you as well, which you're supposed to use before you get in, but I also used when I got out as well. And then you can dry off and get dressed, and that pretty much concludes your experience. They do have swimsuit dryers, so if you did bring your own swimsuit, you could run it through that real quick just to get rid of some of that excess water. And if I remember correctly, they did also have hair dryers, but like I forgot to bring my brush. So if you want to dry your hair off real quick, you should be able to do that there, but make sure you have a hairbrush as well, just to get rid of all those tangles from swimming around. And that is what it's like to visit the Secret Lagoon in Iceland. Again, this was so different from our other lagoon experience at the Sky Lagoon. Like, it was just so simple, and I really like the contrast between the two. If you want something that's a little more elevated, go someplace like the Blue Lagoon or the Sky Lagoon, but if you want that rustic, authentic, quiet experience, the Secret Lagoon is just such a great place to go. And as the oldest swimming pool in Iceland, like, it's just iconic. So I really think this should be the one you check out. Thank you so much for stopping by to watch this video. If you have any questions or comments about the Secret Lagoon, I would love to hear them. So please feel free to drop them in the comment section below, and I will get back to you as soon as possible. Don't forget that I do have lots of other videos from our trip to Iceland, not only on the Sky Lagoon, but packing guides and itineraries, gear recommendations, all sorts of things that are just intended to help you plan the perfect trip and just make it a whole lot easier for you to do so. So don't forget to go check out the rest of my Iceland playlist as well. As always, I do have a full written blog post about the Secret Lagoon on my website, www.cochranewriting.com. And of course, if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to give it a like, share it with your friends, and make sure you're subscribed to Carried Away Travels so you can get more videos like this from me in the future. Thank you once again for stopping by, and I wish you many happy travels.